नमस्कार, न्यूज 24 के खास कार्यक्रम आमने सामने में आपका स्वागत है। आज मेरे साथ एक ऐसी पर्सनालिटी है जिनके बारे में शायद आपने सुना होगा, शायद कुछ पढ़ा भी होगा। अमूमन आमने सामने में मेरे साथ या तो पॉलिटिशियंस होते हैं या तो कोई फिल्मी स्टार होता है। आज मेरे साथ एक स्पिरिचुअल गुरु है जिनकी पर्सनालिटी को देख करके, जिनके रहन सहन पहनावा को देखकर इन्हें डिजाइनर गुरु कहा जाता है। कहते हैं डिजाइनर पगड़ी पहनते हैं, डिजाइनर गॉगल्स लगाते हैं।
योग और प्रकृति को बचाने की मुहिम में जीवन समर्पित करने वाली एक ऐसी शख्सियत जिसे लोग प्यार और सम्मान से सदगुरु कहते हैं, सदगुरु जग्गी वासुदेव। सदगुरु जग्गी वासुदेव का जन्म 3 सितंबर 1957 को कर्नाटक के मैसूर में हुआ। उनके पिता एक डॉक्टर थे। बालक जग्गी को कुदरत से बेहद लगाव था। बचपन में अक्सर वे कई दिन जंगल में रहते, पेड़ की ऊंची डाल पर बैठकर हवाओं का आनंद लेते और गहरे ध्यान में चले जाते थे। इसके बाद जब वो घर लौटते तो उनकी झोली सांपों से भरी होती थी, जिन्हें पकड़ने में उन्हें महारत हासिल है। 11 वर्ष की उम्र में ही जग्गी वासुदेव ने योग का अभ्यास करना शुरू कर दिया था। अंग्रेजी में स्नातक सदगुरु जग्गी वासुदेव के जीवन में 25 वर्ष की उम्र में एक बड़ा बदलाव आया। एक दोपहर जग्गी वासुदेव मैसूर में चामुंडी पहाड़ियों पर चढ़े और एक चट्टान पर बैठ गए। तब उनकी आंखें पूरी तरह खुली हुई थीं। अचानक उन्हें लगा कि वे अपने शरीर में नहीं हैं, बल्कि हर जगह फैल गए हैं, चट्टानों में, पेड़ों में, पृथ्वी में। अगले कुछ दिनों में उन्हें यह अनुभव कई बार हुआ और हर बार उन्हें परमानंद की अनुभूति हुई। इस घटना ने उनकी जीवन शैली को पूरी तरह से बदल दिया। जग्गी वासुदेव ने उन अनुभवों को बांटने के लिए अपना पूरा जीवन समर्पित करने का फैसला किया और एनजीओ ईशा फाउंडेशन की स्थापना की, जो आज भारत सहित संयुक्त राज्य अमेरिका, इंग्लैंड, लेबनान, सिंगापुर और ऑस्ट्रेलिया में योग कार्यक्रम सिखाता है। साथ ही कई सामाजिक और सामुदायिक विकास योजनाओं पर भी काम करता है। ये 2.5 लाख से भी अधिक स्वयंसेवियों द्वारा चलाया जाता है। ग्रीन हैंड्स परियोजना ईशा फाउंडेशन की पर्यावरण संबंधी परियोजना है। पूरे तमिलनाडु में करीब 16 करोड़ पौधे लगाना परियोजना का घोषित लक्ष्य है। योग और प्रकृति को समर्पित ऐसी ही महान शख्सियत के बारे में आज हम बहुत कुछ और भी जानेंगे, खुद सदगुरु जग्गी वासुदेव की जुबानी अपने खास कार्यक्रम आमने सामने में।
तो इन्हीं से बात करते हैं कि सदगुरु को गुरुकुल क्यों कहा जाता है।
Maybe because many of them are uncool, maybe.
आपके लिए जो चीजें कही जाती हैं वो कही जाती हैं कि आप ट्रेंड सेटर हैं, आप कंटेम्पररी हैं। तो सदगुरु के साथ कंटेम्पररी इंडिया जैसे देश में, भारत जैसे देश में थोड़ा होता है।
See, what one needs to understand is their idea of a guru or a sage is from the calendar. What they do not understand is, if there was a sage 1,000 years ago, 1,000 years ago he was contemporary. That is why he was relevant to those times.
That's right.
If you have to be relevant to these times, you still have to be contemporary. Wisdom has to be contemporary. Everybody thinks wisdom is ancient. Wisdom has to be contemporary for today's life, the way it works. So if there is no sense of what is today, then you must be in the calendar picture. You shouldn't come alive. If you're alive, if you're living here, you must be relevant to the people who live today, here. So without that, how do you work? Are you just a showpiece? Are you somebody useful to people?
लेकिन आम जनता सदगुरु इसको कैसे समझे? क्योंकि आम जनता तो पली बड़ी है कैलेंडर देख करके, उसके दिमाग में तो वही है ना, वो गेरुआ कपड़ा, वो ऐसे वाला पोस्चर, वो हेलो साथ में पीछे लगा देते।
मैं क्या करूँ, आप लाइट तो मेरा मुंह में लगा दिया, यहाँ लगा दो ना।
नहीं, लेकिन क्योंकि जो भोली भाली जनता जिसे कहते हैं, वो कैसे समझे कि गुरु को कंटेम्पररी होना है, उसको ट्रेंडी होना है।
It is only people who are not looking at life, they're only looking at the calendar picture or ancient books, and they think life is in a book. Life is not in a book. Whatever book, however holy, with all due respect, books were written by human beings. This book, written by the Creator himself, instead of reading this book, people are reading all kinds of books. If you want to know life, you must read this book, and it's always contemporary. It's not ancient, it is not futuristic, it is always contemporary. Life is always contemporary, never of the past, never of the future, isn't it?
एक टिपिकल जो एक सन्यास का नजरिया होता है, उसको आप यू सी इट विथ अ डिफरेंट लाइट. यू सी इट सन्यास एज नॉट somebody who's given up everything, somebody who's assimilated everything. Is that right?
Isn't it so? Isn't it so, I'm asking? See, sannyas essentially means that you have broken the cyclical patterns of life. Samsara means cyclical patterns of life, repeating same things. Sannyas means going straight towards your liberation or your mukti. So sannyas does not mean going backwards in time. It's about going forward straight, not going in cycles. So, how a person presents himself to the world is the way it works today. People's problem is many people who belong to the past. See, if you belong to a time which is 10,000 years or 5,000 years or even 1,000 years, you shouldn't be alive right now. People who should be in the grave, they're talking from the grave, that's the whole problem. So people are always talking in terms of how it was then. Even then when the sages came, they said how somebody else was in the past. So that is because people are looking for something familiar, they're not looking for an awakening. They're seeing how they can sleep well. But my work is to see how you're awakened, not how you go to sleep. I'm not interested whether you're comfortable or not. I'm interested that you come awake.
But Sadhguru, you know, जिस तरीके की आपका अपना देश है, जहाँ पे इतनी ज्यादा प्रॉब्लम्स है, इतने सारे लोग भूखे हैं, इतने सारे लोगों को बेसिक सुविधाएं नहीं है, उस देश में अवेकनिंग तो तब आएगी ना जब पेट की भूख खत्म होगी, तब तो आत्मा की भूख जगेगी.
Of course. That's the reason why we are engaged with business leaders, with political leaders and everybody, because first, the most basic thing is you must see that people have at least eaten. When he is not eaten, you talk about something else of enlightenment, it doesn't mean anything. So, if somebody is talking that language, that's different, but no spiritual teacher of any worth will ever speak like that. They're always talking about first taking care of that. But taking care of the stomach is not going to fulfill either. For example, economic development is happening. If economic development is not reinforced with spiritual progress within yourself, what will happen is, if there is no spiritual awakening, just economic prosperity happens, you will see people will lose their humanity and becoming animalistic. So both of them have to go together, otherwise it will not work. Can spiritual process happen without food in the stomach? No. But if you just put food in the stomach, will people be well? No.
आज की डेट में दुनिया, भारत खास करके जिस दौर से गुजर रहा है, इट्स गोइंग थ्रू दैट प्रोसेस कि अभी तो हम अपनी बेसिक नीड्स की तरफ ध्यान दे रहे हैं कि लोगों को खाना मिले, लोगों को दवा मिले, लोगों को साफ सुथरा एनवायरनमेंट मिले, रहने को ठीक जगह मिले. तो वो सब करते करते तो बहुत टाइम लग जाएगा ना. जब आप पूरी तरह से सैटिएटेड होगे, तभी तो स्पिरिचुअलिज्म की तरफ जाओगे.
There is no such thing as being satiated with these things, because it will go on endlessly. It will go on endlessly for always. You think affluent societies are satiated? Not at all. They're still going at it. When you say a human being, there is a body, there is a mind, there is emotion. For all this, there is a more fundamental inner nature. If you do not handle all of them well, your life will not be well. You think just handling the body you will be well, or just handling the mind you will be well, or just handling the inner dimension you will be well. No. Spiritual process means handling all aspects of your life well. That's what it means. It does not mean this or that. It is not this or that. It is this and that. Only then you can be spiritual, otherwise you cannot sustain your spiritual process.
जब आपने ये डिसाइड किया होगा कि मुझे इस सन्यास के इस रास्ते पर जाना है, तो क्या वो डिसीजन टफ था आपके लिए लेना?
Anyway, I'm not a sannyasi. Okay, I'm not a sannyasi.
In a very quote unquote traditional sense.
I live in a family situation. This is the statement I'm making with the very way I live is, see, right now, people's idea of spirituality is, if you eat badly, dress badly, live badly, you must be spiritual. No wonder nobody wants to be spiritual. So I'm setting an example, how you eat, how you dress, how you live is not determining what you are within yourself. You can live whichever way you want, but how you keep yourself within you, this is very important. Otherwise you'll have everything and you'll still have nothing. So did I make a decision, a hard decision to become something? No. It is natural evolution of life. I have not made any decision about anything. Just I allowed things to happen within me. I did not constrain myself by being identified with this or that. This is all my sadhana is in my life. Whether with my parents or with my family or with my culture or with my religion or with my anything, I did not identify my mind with that. I just left it free. In this culture, God is not the goal. Mukti, liberation or freedom is the goal. Mukti is the goal. So our highest entity, our highest quality, our highest goal in our lives is ultimate freedom. If this has to happen, the first and foremost thing that you have to do is, you understand whatever identities we have taken up in our lives is for us to function in the society, and that's all.
सदगुरु, पिछले 10 साल में पहले भी बहुत सारे सन्यासी रहे हैं हमारे देश में, लेकिन पिछले 10, 12, 15 साल में जैसे लगता बाढ़ आ गई है. There is a flood of sannyasis all across.
No.
You will see them doing, talking, everyone has a space on the television, somebody is doing Ram Katha, somebody is doing Sham Katha, somebody is giving their own gyan. I mean, so people are getting very, very confused because there is, जिसे कह सकते हैं ना, जिसे बाढ़ आ गई है सन्यासियों की, बाढ़ आ गई है गुरुओं की, because it's a big business.
It's up to you how you see it. Now, the thing is just this, there was a time in this country, 30% of the people were on the ascetic path, 70% in the family. If you look at it that way, it has diminished considerably. Only thing is, at that time if you had to see a guru, you had to go into the jungle and see. Even now if you want to see me, you have to come into the Western Ghats, into the forest, otherwise you won't see me. But because there is technology, we are able to enter everybody's home through the television or radio or whatever. So because of that you may be thinking they're all over the place. No, you can turn off your TV. And it's become a business. Why has it become a business? And what's wrong with business? If you're saying business means running something efficiently. Now, if you run the country well, somebody says he's doing business. Right now people are accusing the Prime Minister he is too business-oriented. Well, business means doing something successfully. Are you against success, I'm asking? So if I successfully deliver my message to the whole world, you think it's business? Why?
No, लेकिन उसमें confusion होता है. Because there are many people who are just,
This is what I
luring
said.
people.
See, this is what I said. This is the problem right now with a whole lot of people. They think spirituality means you must be inefficient. People ask me, oh, he drives his own car? How can he be spiritual? Okay, if somebody else drives and I sit in the back seat, I'll become spiritual. Or if I go in a bullock cart, will I become spiritual? No, yogis walked in the past. In the past, not just yogis, everybody walked. You better know that. Not just yogis, everybody walked because there was nothing else.
कुछ लोग कहते हैं कि you are closer in thought process to Osho. कोई कहता है दीपक चोपड़ा. कोई कहता है कि
सब बोल दिया. If he was conveying truth, he must be very close to me. People say, I speak like I'm saying what Gautam Buddha said. Somebody says I'm speaking what Krishna said. Somebody says I'm speaking what J. Krishnamurti said. The only one thing I know is I do not know Vedas, Upanishads, nothing. I know this piece of life from its origin to its ultimate. That's all I know. And that's all that's worth knowing in the universe. So, there is no message for me. There is no philosophy for me. I am only giving methods for people to turn inward and experience their own inner nature. This is all. Methods, not philosophies. I never went to this guru or that guru, I just closed my eyes and sat. I never read a book because if I had time I closed my eyes because I want to read this book, not anybody else's book. I am not interested in anybody else's book.
लेकिन जब आपने लोगों को अपनी बात बताना शुरू किया होगा तो लोग तो क्वेश्चन करते होंगे ना शुरू में, पगड़ी पहनते हैं, दाढ़ी, फ्लोइंग बियर्ड है, सब कुछ है, और इन्होंने उपनिषद नहीं पढ़ा, वेद नहीं पढ़ा, गीता ज्ञान नहीं लिया, लेकिन बातें वैसी कर रहे हैं। जगदीश वासुदेव जग्गी हो गए, बड़े ट्रेंड सेटर हो गए।
No. Right from my childhood, since I was a baby, people call me only Jaggi.
तो लोग तो कुछ क्वेश्चन करते होंगे आपको।
What's wrong with the questions? They are asking questions to clear their doubts about themselves, never about me. Because that never arises, because I'm not claiming anything. I'm just talking about the immensity of being human, what it means to be human. I'm not talking about taking them to heaven because I want them to live here well. Only those people who made a hell out of themselves here, who are miserable, they want to go to heaven and live well, because they don't know how to live well here.
तो आपको कहा कैसे जाए? योगा गुरु कहा जाए, क्या कहा जाए?
You can say I'm a full-blown human being.
कुछ एक्सपीरियंस बताइए।
Whatever was the most joyful moment in your life, how to keep yourself like that every moment, I will teach you a method. And it'll work. That's why I'm calling it technologies for well-being. Not teachings, not philosophies, they're technologies. The thing about technology is just this.
वासुदेव की जो टर्मिनोलॉजी है जिसमें टेक्नोलॉजी का यूसेज बहुत है, इनर इंजीनियरिंग, री इंजीनियरिंग योरसेल्फ, सॉफ्टवेयर फॉर सोल, इस तरीके से आपकी यंगस्टर्स बड़े ज्यादा आपके फैंस बनते हैं, because you reach to them through such
not through such words. Young people come because I am young.
ये भी कहा जाता है कि आप you have a great sense of humor, बहुत आप विची भी हैं।
I am not trying to be witty or humorous or anything. If you are joyful, how will you speak? If you are miserable, how will you speak? That's all the difference.
सदगुरु, आप ये बताइए कि हाउ डू यू लुक एट इंडिया आज की डेट में? आप इंडिया को किस तरीके से देख रहे हैं? आज की डेट में आप नरेंद्र मोदी की सरकार आ गई, आप किस तरीके से उनके सरकार को देख रहे हैं?
Things have not changed much yet, but there is a clarity of purpose, intention, focus, determination, which is very visible, no question. I would say in the last 50 years, we have never had a leadership which was this focused, this intent on doing something. But it's very important that just having is not enough. We need to build leadership down the line, because in this country this is a big problem. If a great leader comes, everybody will worship him. A leader does not need worship. A leader needs leadership on many levels to support him. This is time for India to awaken. But you will argue with me, how can they awaken? First let's feed them and then awaken them. No. Awakening also must happen, feeding them also must happen. Now for me, what India means right now is, India is on the threshold of a big possibility. We have the capability, we have the technology. Only thing that was needed is determination of purpose, which we are seeing strongly in the leadership today. And this is the time to do it. All of us as a generation of people in this country can witness this miracle. In 5 to 10 years, a huge mass of people move from one level of living to another. This has never happened before.
अच्छा, जग्गी वासुदेव को अगर प्रधानमंत्री नरेंद्र मोदी को 3 एडवाइस आज की डेट में देना हो तो क्या क्या होंगी वो?
I don't think he's a man who needs much advice. He's fine. If we have to tell him, if we have to remind him, I don't think it's necessary, but if we must, one important thing is, which is repeatedly spoken about, is all we have in this country is a large population. Fortunately, they're largely young people. If we have well-trained, skilled, focused, inspired population, we will become a miracle that the world has not seen.
So that's one.
But if we become an uninspired, unfocused, unskilled population, we will be the biggest disaster. That's an important thing. People, because a nation is people, not land.
Okay, so that's one thing.
Yes.
Second thing?
If we have to do something dramatic and significantly successful, we cannot do it by ourselves. Both money, material and skills will have to come from various countries. Now we want to liberate this nation. It's very important the rules are simple, straight and enforceable. Most of the rules that you have are not enforceable. Once the law is not enforceable, people will find justice on the street. A parallel system of law is running in the country in so many ways. This means gradually you lose control over everything that's happening. So if outside money has to come, outside skills have to come, outside technologies have to come to us, it's very important that we create a stable, reliable platform. If it is not possible instantly to do it across the nation, at least the business laws must be made very, very clear, simple and clear.
And the third thing, Jaggi?
3 boons always must happen, isn't it? 3 pieces of advice. Internal security is extremely important and we have to make that happen. For this there are many sacrifices all of us have to make, but every citizen in the country must be ready to do that.
रामदेव ने एक योगा को ट्रेंडी बना दिया, सब लोग कपालभाति करने लगे, उन्होंने अवेकनिंग योगा के लिए शुरू की। आपकी जो क्रिया है उसके लिए आप कैसे करेंगे?
There is something called as Isha Kriya. It is transmitted across the world on the internet in so many ways. Millions of DVDs have been given out. People are practicing quietly. You will not know they're doing it because unlike Kapalabhati, it will not make sound or visually you cannot see they're doing something. The importance of Ramdev's work is people who had never heard what is yoga, now all of them know something about yoga, which is a fantastic thing. But what I am doing is of a certain level of sophistication which can only be transmitted when people are in a certain state of commitment and focus. Otherwise it cannot be. But we also have practices which are mass, which are very simple, which can be transmitted. So these are 2 different ways of handling things, addressing 2 different types of people altogether.
अंत में सदगुरु, अगर आपको एक लाइन में जनरल पब्लिक को समझाना पड़े कि कैसे अपनी जिंदगी को देखें, क्या बोलेंगे आप?
So one thing that every human being has to understand is we are mortal. That means we have come with an expiry date. Everything that you have right now, whether it's your body, the content of your body or the content of your mind, and everything around us is all from outside. But beyond this there is something that you call as myself. If you do not know anything about yourself, the true self, if you do not know anything, you are living an empty life. And for doing this, you don't have to go to the Himalayas, you don't have to dig into the earth, you don't have to go stay in an ashram, you just have to turn inward. This turning inward must happen to every human being, otherwise you will live this life without experiencing it. You never experience life because you are life, isn't it? When you use the word life, what you are referring to is your work, your family, your home, this… No, these are all accessories to life. But you are life, isn't it? That life, that is me, if you do not experience this, rest will all mean nothing. Right now you're caught up in the race with others and you think it means something. Otherwise it will mean nothing if nobody else was there to race with. The important thing is you must know the nature of your existence. Only then you can really experience life and live life the way you want. If you want to live successfully in every sphere of life, it's important you know the nature of who you are. Without that you're not complete.
Thank you so much. तो ये थे आमने सामने में सदगुरु जग्गी वासुदेव। अगले हफ्ते मैं अनुराधा प्रसाद किसी और पर्सनालिटी के साथ आपसे फिर मिलती हूँ। तब तक के लिए नमस्कार।